Have you always wanted to make juicy, tender chicken like you have in restaurants, but you've never been able to work out how exactly they get the end result that they do? Well, I'm here to show you how it's done.
Big thanks to Kamado Joe for sponsoring this episode.
If you have ever gone down the rabbit hole of cooking the perfect chicken, you know it's not that easy. Of course, chicken with a bit of seasoning and salt and cooked to the right temperature is going to give you a beautiful result. But you will have to apply some techniques to make that chicken extra juicy, extra tender, and extra flavorful. So I'm going to give you a step-by-step approach to cooking that perfect chicken. And it all starts with a good chicken. Like this beauty right here. Look at it. It's a beautiful light colored chicken and it's been fed a lot of grain. And you can see that from the fat that sits at the bottom of the chicken. So if you're buying a chicken, you got to look out for, does it have plenty of meat on the bone? And does it have that little bit of fat that's going to give you a great experience? You see, most professionals never cook their chicken in a whole. And there's two reasons for that. One, it takes up a lot of time. And two, it's not going to allow you to cook the chicken even. So if you would put it on a rotisserie, for instance, it's going to lose a lot of moisture. And since we want that perfect chicken, we got to go spatchcocked. And therefore, we're going to remove the backbone. And there's a little caveat to that, because restaurants like to use that backbone to make chicken stock with. If you're cooking like a pro, then this will make you happy. This is pure gold. Look at that beautiful skin, fat, little bit of meat that is still on this backbone. If you cook this, it's going to give you so much flavor. For now, I'm just going to set it aside so we can focus on this chicken. You see, we've done the simple task of removing the backbone with the poultry scissors, but now I have to flatten it out. And there are two more bones you got to break. This is the Y bone that runs right here. If we break that by putting the poultry scissors in and just cutting them, and that's how we basically detached it. Now we can flatten our chicken out by just spreading it out like that. Now there are a couple more tricks to make your chicken look good later on. Just fold the tips back behind the wing. Another hack is to make an incision in the skin at the end of the leg and then stick the leg through. Gonna do the same for the other side. You can see that the surface of the chicken is now super flat. So basically the breast and the leg will cook just as fast. And that means no dry pieces of meat. Talking about dry pieces of meat, let's move on to the next phase. I'm talking about brining. You're going to need a liter or 4 cups of water, 50 grams of salt. This is the basis of any brine. 1, 2, 3 tablespoons of salt. Once you've got that covered, you can work on flavors. Now personally, I like a brine chicken, but it becomes better when we add more flavors. That's why I'm going to add 2 tablespoons of maple syrup. I'm also going to add a tablespoon of dark rum, and now I can start adding the water. Mix it up and let the crystal dissolve so that the water takes up all of the flavor. As you can see, I only have a liter of brine, but the fun thing is that you don't need one of them big buckets to put your chicken in and brine it in. And it's not going to absorb that amount of brine. So that's why I like to use a Ziploc bag. And then you can take some fresh herbs, like this rosemary and thyme, clove of garlic, a quarter onion, put it in the bag, add the chicken to the bag, add the brine, close the Ziploc bag almost all the way, push out any air. Once the chicken is fully submerged, close the bag, and now you can let this sit in the fridge for at least 4 hours, but you can also just let it sit overnight and even 2 days. All right, see you guys in 4 hours. Time to take it out and look at the result of the brine. Let it drip. There we go. You can almost feel how much juices that it picked up. Now that I got the flavor on the inside of the chicken fixed, I can focus on the flavor on the outside of the chicken. Of course, I will be using the PITMASTERX chicken seasoning, but you can use any seasoning that you like, or you can go to our website and recreate it from the recipe that's online. I don't want to put on too much because I don't need too much salt since I brined it already. Just a little bit for the color. Without the seasoning, then the color is going to look a little bit, yeah. And you know that the eye always eats first. Season the side. It's very particular. Make sure you season well, guys. That's why I also do the sides of the chicken. It's just going to look a little bit half-assed if you don't. And now this chicken is ready for the barbecue. I'll be using the double indirect setup, which means I'm gonna put a little bit of big block charcoal at the bottom, light it up with a couple of fire starters. Once those are burned up, I'm gonna add a chunk of smoke wood, add the first layer of heat deflectors, a second layer of heat deflectors, then the grill grates go on. I'm also gonna put a chunk of smoke wood in the ashtray so that later on that will start smoking while we're further in. The Kamado Joe is running at a stable temperature of 140 degrees Celsius, which is around 290 degrees Fahrenheit. I'm going to take my beautiful chicken, put it on the grill and let it smoke. See, we got that light smoke coming up. Close the lid. And the important thing now is that I keep my eye on the color of the chicken, because when you're making barbecue chicken, you do want a little bit of that smoke color, but you don't want to over smoke your chicken. Once you get that dark brown look on your chicken, you know you messed up. But if you got that beautifully light brown shine over the chicken, that's the sweet spot. And while we wait for that chicken to be done, we're gonna make a delicious chicken barbecue sauce. I'm going to make this as easy as possible by making the barbecue sauce in the jar that I'm going to store it in. And then I'm going to look at the amounts I'm going to put in. This is going to be about 1/4 cup of ketchup. To that I'm adding the same amount of vinegar, the same amount of dark brown sugar, a tablespoon of Worcester sauce, and then I'm going to use the PITMASTERX chicken seasoning, and I'm going to add 2 tablespoons of that to the sauce. And that's really going to make that the flavors already on the chicken are going to match up with the barbecue sauce. Now this is the final touch. Those are chipotle flakes, basically smoked peppers. And I'm going to add a teaspoon of those. I need the sauce to run a little bit. I still need it to stick to the spoon. And that thin film of barbecue sauce, that is what I want on my chicken. That is freaking delicious. The chicken just hit a core temperature of 70 degrees Celsius, and that's the moment that I also have the color specifically that I'm looking for. That light golden brown without that super dark touch. It means we have flavor and we've got a beautiful color. Well, let's take a look at it. Oh, aesthetically, this is about as good as it gets. We got a beautiful crispy crust on the outside. Look at this. Specifically this part where it's like you can dent in the skin. That means that the fat underneath the skin rendered down. The skin became detached, crispened up by the hot air, while keeping the meat juicy and moist on the inside. But hold on, we're not done yet. Still's got to go on. I'm just gonna brush this on, and I want a thin layer to sit on this chicken. But from this point on, it can't be too long before it's done, because otherwise my crispy skin will become soft. And I don't want that. I want it to be absolutely perfect. I want crisp without compromise. Can't brush off the seasoning anymore. It's so connected with the meat of the chicken that it won't let go. There we go. This is looking good. This is what I need. Final check. I could have been a painter, you know. It could have been a thing. PITMASTERX. Close it. It's going to take about 5 minutes max to get that perfect shine. Mission accomplished. The chicken is done. And now comes the hardest part, resting. Because it means I can do absolutely nothing to this chicken and I just have to watch it relax. I'm going to give this about 10 minutes. Now we know this now looks good, but what does it taste like? And how juicy can it be? I'm just going to tear a piece off to demonstrate what juicy means. And this is what juicy means. Now of course I would just rather cut it up, but it's a demonstration of what you can do if you put a little bit extra effort in making your chicken. It's just going to become next level tasty and juicy. Even the breast is going to be super tasty. Still a bit hot. Ooh, look at that. Literally oozing juices. Crispy skin, juicy meat. For me the most important part is that you can actually tear the meat off the bone. Just pop it, tear it off. You see that clean bone there? All right, let's give this a try. I'm gonna start with the wing, one of my favorite parts of the chicken. It's chicken, it's gonna be messy. For me the breast is always proof of quality, and that's how you make a pro level barbecue chicken. Give it a try and let me know how your chicken turned out. Thank you guys for watching. See you guys in the next one. Always a pleasure.